evening, everybody. Hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend, everybody. We're not talking NFL tonight. We're going in a different direction, the United Football League. And we have a new guy in the house and a guy that won't be new after this show because we're going to make sure we have plenty of room for Mr. Marvin Powell III. Welcome to the big show, Marvin.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to this.
Oh, we look forward to you more than you'll ever know, Mr. Powell. And I can imagine the rivalries that'll be built within the network when we have other people you're going to get to know. TBD. Stay tuned, everybody. Welcome back to Ben Troop.
What's good? What's good, everybody, man? I was in Marvin. I mean, we done been on the show, man. I appreciate you gracing me and Steven and I was, George. I'm just looking forward to some of the stories with George and Scott. I mean, I hope they PG. I hope they good enough, PG for the listen. That's all.
Family friendly. Family friendly.
Yes. We'll see.
PG, I don't know if it's PG with this knucklehead here, but it's okay. And we've survived with each other for 45 years enough that this guy wrote the forward of my book. It can't be all that bad if I had him do it. So PG, I don't know. It depends on how long you watch us go at it and all the boxing matches that we've had at stadiums in the Metro Detroit area. With that said, we also have Stephen Reichel, the guy who has brought me together with the people like Chris T. Jones, Ben Troop, and now Marvin Powell. Unbelievable. Steve, I'll tell you what, I will say this is my heir apparent here on the South Florida Tribune. So if anything were to happen to me, I'm leaving Steve, obviously, in charge of the broadcast side. Candy Ebling, who is up here, is handling all the inside. Between that dynamic duo of Steven and Candy, I don't think you can do much better than these two. So that's our crew. As we get ready tonight, busy show tonight. Candy, welcome back.
Thank you. And Marvin, welcome. And thank you for being the hatless person without me, making me feel good. Since all the other men here have hats on. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There you go. There you have it. Before we get to any UFL news, though, I do want to have a special shout out to Jim Irsay, the late owner of the Indianapolis Colts. Passed away last week at the age of 65 years of age. I think it's well documented that Mr. Irsay had issues with substance abuse issues and died way too soon. He leaves the Colts organization in good hands with his three daughters who will take over and succeeded his late father, Bob Irsay. And Jim was good for winning a Super Bowl and building the pro football base out in Indianapolis. So rest in peace. Anybody else have any comments on Jim Irsay? Go ahead, Ben. I'll start with you. I'll work around. Good to have Ralph Williams in the house.
Yeah, well, back when I was with the Tigers, I never had a chance to really talk to Jim Irsay, from player to GM. But I heard a lot of great things about him. I mean, I know what he meant to a guy. I know what he meant to the city of Indianapolis. I know what he meant to a guy like Peyton Manning. And it goes without saying, man. I mean, a guy like Tony Dungy. I mean, the first African American head coach to win the Super Bowl in the National Football League, got a chance to be hired by a guy like Jim Irsay. So, and a lot of times when you start talking about owners in the NFL, who's going to be that nuanced type of owner? Who's going to be the owner that's going to go against the grain? Who's going to be the one that's going to challenge the status quo? So I give Jim Irsay, a lot of credit for what he built in Indy and what he meant to that city, to that state. And like I said, Indiana is always going to be a football, state. But right. I mean, basketball state. But when like I said, he brought a winner there. And, I was, that's back when Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark and those guys and Bob Sanders and Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. I mean, they ran the AFC South. They just did. So he will be missed. And like I said, man, I know may he rest in paradise. I know that his daughter's going to do a great job of continuing his legacy. Big shoes to fill, but here I am, a guy that played for the Titans, showing love to Jim Irsay, who did a more than phenomenal job for the coach.
All right, I'll turn over to Candy.
Obviously, I didn't play football, but when you talk about somebody and you listen to a lot of his former players, and they come out and talk so highly about him, you know what kind of man he was. And yes, he had his struggles, but we all have struggles in some way, shape, or form. what he did for Indianapolis and the Colts though was great. I mean, to bring that franchise more to light, to bring someone like Peyton Manning there. I mean, you know, he's going to be missed, and it's sad. It's sad, but he's at peace now, and yeah, it's just sad for the NFL. But he was a great man. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, George.
Well, yeah, he's going to be missed. And you know where he's going to be missed a lot is the NFL meetings. You know, the owners get together more than once a year, of course. Those important meetings that they have to go over rules and go over their subcommittees. And I know that Sheila Hemp, the majority owner of the Detroit Lions, I know she obviously has a hole in her heart, as all the owners do. You know, it is a family. I know you always have renegades. Al Davis comes to mind, Jerry Jones, but I mean, you got owners there that work together as a family, and the committees and all that detailed work that has to be done in the executive level. And he's going to be missed a lot by his fans, by the city, and obviously by the NFL and their ownership committee as well. Rest in peace, Jim.
Stephen.
Yeah, rest in peace, Jim Irsay. Like you guys have already touched on. You know, it's a fraternity, especially when it comes to the upper management of our beloved NFL. You know, as far as the player side, obviously there's going to be guys that had special connections to him. You know, from stuff that I was reading online. Scott touched on he had substance abuse issues and things of that nature, but he was also a guy that, the players could relate to, could sit down there, have a beer with, joke around, talk about life, things of that nature. So there's other things that, he meant a lot to people, not just, as being the Colts owner, not just being an owner of a football franchise. He was a genuine human being, and it's a rare thing, especially when you have that boss player type of dynamic. It's not often that you can have someone that you can relate to on that level. So I know a lot of those guys and management members down there in Indianapolis are feeling it this week.
I'm sure. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Indianapolis is a busy weekend. George and I can attest to the fact that when it gets busy around Memorial Day, it does. George and I ended up going to the Indianapolis 500. We saw an Indiana Pacers game. Now you add the Indiana Fever to the mix, and that's a big sports capital in its own right. Yep. We'll leave the last word on this topic to Marvin Powell. Go ahead, Marvin.
Yeah, so it says a lot about him when what the things you hear from Pat McAfee and from Peyton and these guys. All you hear is positive stuff, and it's obvious this guy had tremendous impact in that city. In regards to, I never knew him, never met him. I had a chance to play against Peyton early in his career, but Irsay turned that place into a football town. I think he really brought a lot of Colts fever. I think that's a very real thing. And, he had just nothing but positive impact regarding everything else. I mean, when I hear about, and you've heard about throughout his life, the things he struggled with, all that tells me is he's a human being. All that tells me is that he's lived real life like everybody else. And he's dealt with it in different ways like everybody else. And he's a human being. I think his legacy, I think his memory is a positive one. And the NFL, without question, and that state and that city are better off because of him, without question.
All right, we're going to transition over to another college icon. Then we're going to get to the meat of the show. A guy by the name of Lee Corso is set to retire from ESPN's College Game Day after 38 years. What did he mean to you guys, or what stood out? You know what, Marvin? What are your thoughts about Lee Corso?
Legend, college football legend. And I'll tell you what, he was good with USC. I think every time USC had a home game and he picked USC, we won. I think it's like 16-0. But Corso, I mean, he's a part of college football history. The game is better when you listen to when Lee Corso is involved, and he's somebody who absolutely again had impact on this game, and we'll miss him on that show. Just his presence, everything about him, without question.
Steven?
Melvin already spoke that he's absolute legend. Like when it comes to the broadcasting side of things, he brought an energy to that booth, and when they announced last year that was going to be his swan song, and he didn't disappoint, man. He always showed out. He always brought the energy. My thing is, how do you go and replace a guy like that? How do you go and replace a guy like that? He was just so new. It's like trying to replace Jimmy Vitale. It's not going to happen. You're going to have a hole there for a period of time. There's no one going to be able to duplicate what he did over that period of time. So it's going to be interesting. I hope he enjoys his retirement. Hopefully he stays around the game in some way, shape, or form. And let's see what ESPN College Game Day does to offset the loss.
George?
Well, you can't replace Steve. You know that. You can't replace a legend like that. And I agree with you. One of these days we're going to say goodbye to, Dick Vitale. We've already been brought through some of the Jimmy Johnson now has hung it up on the NFL Fox pregame show. But this guy is unbelievable. I mean, he made College Game Day along with the other commentators. Don't get me wrong. And the fans and the whole atmosphere of that show. They made that must-see TV, ESPN. Yeah. As corny as those crazy get-ups were, and the mascot helmet hats and the figures that he put on his head, and hats off to Kurt Herbstreit. Okay, Kirk knew. We all knew that Lee was in declining health, and what Kirk did to be with him and be like a father son almost, and help him out on that set. We all knew there were some things that Lee just couldn't do, as his time too. He wasn't there for hour after hour like the other guys were, but what a great person. He loves the sport so much. And just like Vitale and college basketball that you mentioned, it's a great career. And let's not put him out like he's gone forever. But thank you, Lee Corso, for all you've contributed to college football, especially on ESPN.
Now, just a little FYI before I turn over to Candy and Ben. George and I were working at WXYZ Radio, the ABC affiliate in Detroit, back in '79. Dick Vitale had the show before Sports Talk. So we bumped into him all the time.
Yes.
We had him. And we really did. Think about us following Dick Vitale back in the day when he was the University of Detroit Titans men's basketball coach. It was unbelievable. George and I were doing this all the time. And then Candy and I introduced her to him when he's in Sarasota because he does it because of Dick Vitale's great work with obviously cancer research. But back to Lee Corso, to me, he is the Dick Vitale of college football, a coach who made himself in the broadcast booth. When you do something like that transformation, it's unbelievably legendary. I will point out another little fact here while George got me on a Kirk Herbstreit thing. Can you imagine what it's like for Kirk Herbstreit, who played for Ohio State? Think about this. Where his son plays for the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah.
Marvin, how bitter of a pill would that be for Kirk Herbstreit to have to wear a Michigan logo with his son playing? Tell me.
Listen, I'll be honest. I have a 9-year-old who's very excited about playing sports professionally and at the collegiate level. And listen, I tell him like my dad told me, you take advantage of any opportunity that you create. I support whatever you want to do. With that said, you don't go to UCLA, don't go to Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
This does not do that. And, that's, So I think Kirk is absolutely supporting his son 100%. I think Kirk is proud of his son. I think Kirk, is a proud dad, to be honest with you. And I think it's tough on him, but I think it's easier than you think for him to go out there and support his kid, that his kid plays well and, so on and so forth. So, but yeah, it's tough. And, I just hope that little Marv does the right thing, whatever that means, whatever that means. Whatever that means, just do the right thing. So,
just fight Michigan, even though you had the best response I've ever seen on Inside the Picton. Just don't go to the other. That would be your when Candy goes out there and comes up with these reels and shorts, and Steven has taught us so eloquently about I would be surprised if we get a good one there with Kirk Herbstreit and his son going over to Michigan, and now you bringing that comment. That was classic. What do you think, Steven? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'll tell you, the crazy part is this. Nobody recruited me harder than UCLA. And Gary Bernardi did a phenomenal job. And this guy, listen, he had me thinking a little bit. He had me thinking. He was good. He was good like that. But at the end of the day, there was no way in the world I was going to go to that school. Are you crazy?
Well, meanwhile, we have an interesting situation at the Herbstreit house with son Herbstreit going to Michigan and Kurt going to Ohio State. It doesn't get any better than this, right, Steven?
Oh, it doesn't, man. The collegiate rivalries are just that. It's a totally different animal. And then you have another layer of that when it becomes, father, son, grandson, things of that nature. It's an interesting wrinkle, so to speak.
It's a blessing.
So now we're going to give Candy and Ben the opportunity to comment on Corso and Herbstreit. Thanks to Icor bringing his name up. Go ahead, Candy.
So Corso, who turns 90 in August, began his popular headgear segment in October of 1996 at a game at Ohio State. Since then, he has gone 286 to 144 in 430 selections, wearing everything from helmets and mascot heads to dressing up as the Fighting Irish Leprechaun from Notre Dame, the Stanford Tree, and historic figures such as James Madison and Benjamin Franklin. One of his most well-known comments, "Not so fast, my friends." And his good humor alongside Herbstreit, Reese Davis, and Desmond Howard, and many others going back more than 3 decades, helped make Corso and the show a beloved staple for millions on college football Saturdays. It's amazing that in today's day and age that someone lasts at one job on one channel for as long as he did. Because you talk about kids that graduate from college these days, and they said, I think it's something like on average, they're going to have at least four different careers, not jobs, not companies you're working for, but careers. So for someone to last as long as he did in the booth on one station doing what he obviously loves is a testament to him.
One year go ahead, Ben.
No, I agree. I mean, when I think of Corso, I think icon. I mean, you got people that are really, really good at what they do. You got some people that are great. He was an icon. You're not watching game day for the analytics anymore. You're not watching to see who's playing. You watch Corso say, "Give me that thing." I mean, he made it, and I think sometimes when you say, "What is going to be my legacy in sport?" Sometimes it's going to be as a player. Sometimes it's going to be as a legacy player, like you, Marvin. Sometimes it's going to be as a coach. Sometimes it's going to be a moment, and sometimes you get to say, "Man, I want to be like Corso." Now, I don't think nobody could do it like he did it, because the way he did it was unscripted. It's authentic the way he did it. But College Game Day became College Game Day because of that. And sometimes, look, you used to watch Monday Night Football. John Madden made you want to watch football the way he broke the game down, right? He's not talking to people who know football. He's talking to people who don't, right? So for me, what Corso did, he made it fun, to be a fan of college football. So he is going to be missed. It's crazy. Jimmy Johnson is retiring. He retired this year. He's like almost in his 80s. Corso was retiring. He's going to be 90. Like, if it's up to us, he'll never retire. He's going to be 90 years old. But I give a lot of credit to Kirk Herbstreit. But Kirk Herbstreit said, "Listen, man, I'm going to be humble enough to say, look, man, I'm going to do whatever this guy needs me to do. I ain't gonna make it about me. I'm gonna make it about him. I'm gonna do all I can to keep him sitting next to me as long as I possibly can." And he is gonna be missed, man. Corso was free. That's what he was. He said what he wanted, how he wanted, when he wanted, but he was fun to watch. And I think Corso to me says something. He does something to me. He does something that my grandfather always said. He would always say when it comes to communicating, he said, don't stop. He said, listen, you got to stop talking before they stop listening. And that's what Corso did. Listen, you're going to listen to him no matter what it was, how it was. And I mean, Marvin, we didn't get, I don't, he was good for y'all. He wasn't good for my Gators, man. He used to pick us, and it didn't go well. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy to think that. And the greatest thing I think Corso did, he got to decide when he wanted to leave. They didn't tell him he had to go. He said, hey, man, okay. I think that's the greatest thing with sports, when you tell them, hey, man, I want to walk away. And is he past his prime? I don't think so, because can't nobody beat him but him. But, yeah, he is going to be missed. And Corso is a one of one, man. He's a one of a kind. And it's gonna be different watching him. As a person that went to Florida, I remember when Bobby Bowden did his last game and did his last press conference. That stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because we forget how iconic some of these coaches and players and personalities are. So, hey man, whoever got to sit in that Corso seat when he leaves, good luck with that. Because that's gonna be a hard act to follow if it can be followed at all.
Yeah. So one other thing there, I was going to ask you about the Herb Street father-son, Michigan, Ohio State. What are your thoughts about that irony?
Let me tell you something. That's a different kind of love right there, boy. That's a different kind of love. No, because it don't supposed to matter, but it matters that much. Like I guarantee you, Kirk's son told his daddy last, like, Daddy, listen. And he said, is it gonna be Michigan for real? Like, yeah. Like, and it's one of those things you go, anybody but Michigan, dude. Like Penn State, right? You want Michigan? Yeah. And guess what? Michigan did it on purpose now. I'm telling you, these coaches and they got GMs now and recruiters, they know what it is. So my son is 16. I'm like you, Marvin. I want my son to go wherever he want to go. He ain't going to Georgia. Listen. No. Listen. I'm telling y'all. No, listen. He's not. Emmitt Smith's son, I think at one point was going to go to Georgia. Now, he ended up not going to Georgia. I think he ended up going to like Stanford or something like that. Let me tell you something. Emmitt Smith went to the University of Georgia, and he put on a Georgia jersey. And I said, you ain't have to do that, Emmitt. Like, you don't got to do that. Look, my son is going to get recruited. He going to go, we going to go. If I go on this visit with him to Georgia, and they go Kirby Smart, hey, Ben, put on this Georgia. Absolutely not. If my son goes to Georgia, yes, I will have to wear that red and black. I got to wear it. It's going to make me sick.
Yeah.
But my card will not work on campus. I ain't buying nothing because my card ain't going to work. So it ain't worth putting it out. I'm like you, Marvin. It's like this. I don't care, but we care. Of course. Whoever he played, you know what I'm saying? So I give Kirk Herbstreit a lot of credit, though. The only reason why Kirk can deal with it is because Michigan won the national championship and Ohio State won this year. If Michigan would have won back-to-back, Herbstreit would have took a leave of absence. I can't do it. And I wouldn't have been mad at him. I wouldn't have been. No, it's just I remember back in the day they had a commercial when this guy from Ohio State and his wife was from Michigan. They was kissing. And they said because of college rivalry, this is why this is discussed. Only because of college rivalry. Certain stuff you just don't do, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't do, Scott. And I'm telling you, listen, SC, UCLA, come on, man. We don't do that. You know how people got the license plate that say a house divided? Not this house, not this family. I'm telling you right now. No. And me and my son got the same name. Being Troop with the touchdown for Georgia. Come on. Come on. It's too many colleges out there. I love you, BJ. But if he come from me, which he did, he gonna do it. Because I will make up so much stuff about Georgia. I start making up stuff like I'm trying to I'm telling you. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. If my son try to go to Georgia, I'm gonna call a Dallas Cowboy fan because I need some excuses. So I'm gonna call them and he's gonna give me like 30 of them, like, Ben, tell him this. Because nobody makes more excuses than a Dallas Cowboy fan. Nobody. It ain't physically possible. And if you are a Dallas Cowboy fan, you know I'm telling the truth. Like somebody said, hey man, you know what Dallas Cowboy fans say no matter what it is? Wait till next year. You just wait.
So I gotta ask you a question. First of all, I want to say one thing about Corso. he did win an award, National Sports Media Association. I wasn't able to get up there that year because I've been dealing with a lot of medical issues the last few years. I wasn't able to make the trip to North Carolina. He's a guy I would have certainly have loved to have met. Thankfully, he's in Orlando. Maybe our paths will cross somewhere in a long game, but more power to him, like you say, going on his own terms. That's so many announcers can't do that, and he was able to do that. But would have been nice to meet him, but my medical issues just didn't allow me to get up that particular year. But I'm glad we brought it up. When we talk about him and then we talk about legendary people, like we were saying, now we need to get to the UFL because a lot of people out there have been waiting. But we're going to talk about a different type of coaching carousel. I'm going to list a bunch of them. I don't let everybody on the crew, they can comment on all of them or the ones that stand out. I'll leave it to you guys and gal. First of all, Wade Phillips actually stepped down as a San Antonio Brahmas head coach due to health issues, and offensive coordinator Peyton Purdy took over as the interim coach. I'm going to list them first, okay? So I get to them all. Then Richie Barlow, the DC Defenders, preseason takes over for Tennessee State. He got the head coaching job there. Shannon Harris is named the interim coach for the DC Defenders. They opened the season by defeating a three-time champion. Get this, Birmingham Stallions. And they started 3-0 in the league. I'll bring up the records up to speed later on. Ken Wisenhunt, uncertainty all season in Memphis. That's been a train wreck to begin with, but Ken Wisenhunt, I don't think he'll ever get another head coaching job. Anyways, this didn't help his resume. AJ Smith quits as Brahma's offensive coordinator due to creative differences. Greg Williams also leaves the Defenders to go to Tennessee State, and the team was undefeated despite losing its head coach and defensive coordinator. And here's the one that's interesting the most. Dwayne Rock Johnson says it's very unfortunate timing for the league, but not anyone's fault at the UFL. So with that said, I've given you a lot of coaches. Ben, we're going to start off with you. What are your thoughts about the coaching carousel in the United Football League?
I mean, I'll start with Wade Phillips. I mean, obviously he's coached a long time, and whenever your health is taking a turn for the worse, you got to look out for self. I mean, I know how rigorous being a head coach is in any league, XFL, UFL. It's really, really hard on. So I give him a lot of, I respect him for putting his health, over coaching. When it comes to Reggie Barlow, I think Tennessee State is a dream come true. I think if I'm not mistaken, he went to Alabama State in college. So to be able to coach, at a HBCU like Tennessee State, shout out to Eddie George, who did a great job at Tennessee State. I'm happy for him. Ken Wisenhunt, to me, is a head scratcher for this reason. Obviously, Ken Wisenhunt was a guy that got a chance to be a head coach in the National Football League a long time, and going through things right now because no matter what, everybody's auditioning to hopefully get an opportunity to go, back to the NFL, and you need a big name like Ken Wisenhunt. Ken Wisenhunt and Wade Phillips are the big names in the UFL that you need. A name like that is going to make people buy tickets, going to make people, tune in, subscribe, to those things. But I think the thing about it is I think The Rock is in a very, very precarious situation because it's all happening at once. It's one thing to have a coach leave or a coach get fired or a coach get a better opportunity. To have so many of your coaches, it's because people are going to ask, what's up with the league now? It's one thing if I had a coach here, a coach there, because I mean, all you have in sports is perception, right? And the perception, if you lose there, you don't want to know the reality of the situation. But to have this many coaches right now in the headlines doesn't do a lot of good for the league. I think that I hope that The Rock and those players deserve better. Because let's face it, to be able to play any level of pro, semi-pro is a blessing because it's extremely hard to do both. I say what happens to the players because they don't have a big enough name player right now individually to get people to tune in. So right now it is because it's a collection of the coaches, players, schemes, teams, so forth. But to have so many headlines about these coaches is not a good thing. But I'm wishing the best for everybody involved. I'm looking forward to seeing what Reggie Barlow does at Tennessee State, and I will be monitoring what happens with Wade Phillips' health. And like I said, Ken Wisenhunt was the last head coach in the National Football League to offer me an NFL contract. So I'm always I told him no, but I did appreciate him asking me. I mean, Ken Wisenhunt is the only reason why I got to do the three things I ever wanted to do in football, and that was be be the first guy drafted to the team I went to, first guy drafted from the team I came from, and walk away on my own terms. So because of Ken Whisenhunt, I was able to do that was my Lee Corso moment. I was able to walk away on my own terms, knowing that I could still play. And to this day, if you mention my name to Ken Whisenhunt, he's going to be like, oh, this guy. Because he offered me a scholarship. I mean, he offered me a contract. I told him no. And I got a free flight to California. And he thought that I was going there to see the Raiders. And I was going there, see my girlfriend at the time. So I got a free flight. I did to California, cut to them Arizona Cardinals. So appreciate you, Ken. Appreciate it, bro.
Well, keep in mind, Shannon Harris has done a really good job as well. I mean, I'll get to the records later. And also we can talk about Greg Williams going to be with Barlow. So this is an opportunity for Greg Williams at the college level. So I think it's good all the way around. Great commentary there, Ben. I'm going to turn over to Marvin. What are your thoughts about what you have? And also want to talk about the nephew that you have playing as well.
Yeah. So my niece's husband, Zach Banner, played at USC, and he plays for the Houston team. So we watch him when he's on, when we can. We support Zach 100%. But, in regards to the UFL, and just generally speaking about the coaching carousel and all that stuff, it's good for the coaches, like it's good for the players. Like Ben said earlier, for the players, these are guys who are trying to get to the NFL, trying to get back to the NFL. Most of these rosters are NFL players or guys who've been in NFL camps at least, you know what I mean? And I think as a whole, with all these spring leagues, you're seeing the level of play increase to a degree. But it's good for the coaches as well. The Whisenhunts and the Greg Williams guys who've been in the NFL aren't there. There are only so many jobs, and you're trying to be reborn. You're trying to deal with these younger players and trying to get a better feel for this newer culture who's coming in, post NIL and stuff like that. So, I think, generally speaking, I think you're going to see a lot of guys coming and going. I think it provides opportunities for young and up-and-coming coaches. I think it provides opportunities for veteran coaches who just love the game like that, and are still trying to prove they can connect with players and move on. So, I'm looking forward to watching this league evolve and grow. And I think that these coaches coming and going is inevitable, but to a degree, it's a good thing, I think. So.
Fair enough. Okay, Steven.
I mean, I think Marvin, Ben all kind of hit it. Like, listen, we talk about the coaching carousel here in the National Football League on a consistent basis. The turnover rate, this, that, and it's good for everyone. It's good for the league. It's good for the players. It's good for the coaches. You get your opportunity to say, that this is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is what I run. This is what I do. And you either get your platform to push yourself back up to the bigger leagues, or you make your stamp as one of these guys that has had their opportunities there, regardless if we're talking player or coach. So the names I think are irrelevant. It's just good for publicity stuff where it comes to marketing and pushing these teams like a Wade Phillips, a Ken Whisenhunt, and things of that nature. It's just something that people can attach memory to. That guy was in the league, this guy was in the league, whatever. It's something I know the Rock's invested a lot into right now, and for his sake, I hope it's something that pans out so it doesn't falter like Vince McMahon's XFL or anything like that. But
right.
It's I think this is a little bit more of a grander thing. It's not gimmicky like it was when it came to that. But I'm interested to see how everything plays out when everything gets on the field this season.
Well, keep in mind, let me mention 4 other coaches that are doing well. You have Mike Nolan is doing a wonderful job for the Michigan Panthers. You also have Skip Holtz, who's won all the championships in spring football. And you have Bob Stoops, who's coaching professional football. And the offensive coordinator for Wood Stoops is a former Lion by the name of Chuck Long. And it's really interesting. And a little later in the show, we're going to talk about some of the rule changes. So I just want to put those names out there as well. We don't have to comment on every little coaching thing that there is, but these are worth bringing. Bob Stoops has got tired of college football, part-time coaching gig, getting an opportunity to coach in the pros. Skip Holtz, pretty good college career, struggled at USF, my alma mater, but didn't do bad. But now he's found a spot coaching the pros. And I love watching him call plays, which is unbelievable. We'll get to that. And Chuck Long to me is an excellent offensive mind. So on top of the ones I mentioned, these four coaches are sort of worth mentioning as well. George Eichhorn, anything you want to say briefly on this, whether it's Detroit connection, or,
Yeah,
I know you're
yeah.
looking to keep your comments limited, but
Yeah,
comment
yeah, no, I
limited.
echo the sentiments here. I mean, let's face it, we know that this is a stepping stone, or shall I even say this? It's the last call for some of the older coaches. They know they're not going to make as much money. Obviously, the money is to be made in the NFL and the super programs in college. So you're looking at a situation where, unfortunately, just as in the case of a lot of the players, these are coaches that have been around the corner more than once. That being said, I'm not degrading them. No way. I don't mean it that way as a negative. It's just a situation where you're in a league that's trying to establish itself. It's trying to grow even more. And you got a situation where there's openings. So of course you're going to take a chance to move on in your career. But that being said, like, the college ranks and the NFL is going to have the cream of the crop. I'll just leave my comments at that.
That's fair. That's good, George. Not quantity, sometimes in your case, quality as well. I mean, you and I have been at this for a long, long time, and we know we've been in, like Marvin and Ben and even Chris T. Jones are on the field. You and I happen to go to the locker room, so we understand both ends of the coin. Okay, Katie, you can do this, and you have a station break following.
So, one point that we have to really put out there is the United Football League is still currently losing money. It's not making money. It's not self-sustained. Viewership on television has increased, but ticket sales in many of the cities have decreased. And while the UFL is backed by Fox, which helps with the media coverage and digital presence, it's aimed for long-term sustainability. To give you just a rough estimate about coaches, the highest paid football coach is Kirby Smart, head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs. He earns 13.282 million per year. He signed a 10-year to a $130 million contract in 2024. As on the flip side, UFL coaches, the average hourly pay for a UFL coach in California right now is $19.44 an hour. They see the highest salaries are $30.13, and the lowest are $10.68. So
Man.
that gives you just an idea. They have to love the game to still want to coach and be coaching and making that kind of money. You love the game. You do not want to give up coaching at that point. Because you're coaching in a league that's not making money. You're not making a ton of money. It's not a long season either. I mean, is it good for the coaches? I love it. And I love the fact that you still have some experienced coaches in there that can really, because let's face it, the UFL is more of a developmental league than the NFL. You're really trying to develop players. Maybe they have a shot to get to the NFL. You don't know. But if you don't try, how would you know? So I like it. We've watched it numerous on TV. I've never seen one game in person. But for those of us that like football and you want something to do in March and you want to be watching new games and not reruns of repeat games, it's a cool product. And the thing I also like about watching it, for any of you that have never watched it on TV, is some of the coaches get mic, some of the they talk more during the game and describe more some of the plays that are going to be played. And I love that when they're reviewing plays, they review it and talk about it right there on the broadcast.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit, Candy. Thanks for throwing it out there because everybody's going to have an opportunity to talk about those. Now we can send you to your station break, which Marvin's going to see it for the first time. Ben loves when you do these station breaks, doesn't he, Ben? And of course, Steven does as well. So go ahead, Candy, you have a station break.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. And the foreword was written by another great panelist here, Mr. George Icorn. Great job, fellas. Talks about Scott's 40 plus years in the media business and how it has evolved and changed. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. Go check it out. If you'd like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights on Sports Exchange, you never know what you're going to get, so tune in to find out. And from time to time, Scott does Motor City Mad Mouse Show, which is a one-on-one interview show. Thursday nights on Sports Exchange, he talks hockey during the hockey season. And on Fire Up, it's called The Country Club. You never know what you're going to get on that show as well. So tune in to find out. If you see that red subscribe button, hit it, like us, share us with all your friends and family. If you want to advertise, call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
Well done, Candy. While we're on the coaches thing, we'll just throw this out there. Could the UFL and John Gruden use the former Raiders coach? Think about it. That's really far-fetched, isn't it? But think about the UFL and John Gruden to bring. Can you see John Gruden as a coach in the United Football League? Marvin, I'm leading off of these.
John Gruden needs to be back in the NFL. To be honest with you, I think he needs to be back in the NFL coaching again. So no, I don't want to see him in the UFL. That's not, he's I think he's a good coach. I think he's good for Players League, and I think it's time to get him back on the sideline. That's my take.
I think you're right, because let's think about it. You got all these 9 teams. He could definitely spark the interest in a franchise, but they couldn't pay him enough money to go there. Marvin, you're so dead on. It's ridiculous. But I'm with you. Great minds think alike, GMT. Remember that acronym, okay? Because I know you will. All right, Ben, what are your thoughts about Gruden maybe in the United Football League?
I think he's too big for the league, and I think he's gonna have to carry too much of it. I mean, his sound bites, his mic'd ups are legendary. You could just go back and watch. But I think the thing about a guy like John Gruden is, I mean, you got to have a strong enough, front office to be able to deal with the criticism that's going to come if he does get in the league. I don't think they got that. Now the NFL, I do agree with Marvin. I think he's built to be on the NFL sideline, regardless of wins, losses. He's built to do it because every coach wants to see, a guy like John Gruden wants to see, can I survive in today's NFL with today's caliber of player compared to the ones I used to have? But do I think if UFL could get him, they would try to get him? Yes. Do I think he's built for the UFL? No. Because no one loves football more than him. He's watching film right now. I don't know why he's watching film right now, but he's watching film right now. And there are people that like the game. There are people that love the game. There are people that are in love with it, crazy about it. John Gruden is a mixture of in love with it. So I do agree he should be on the NFL sideline. UFL, nah, man, because like I said, they ain't gonna pay him enough for what they're gonna ask him to do. So I don't see that being a good match.
What about you, Steven?
I think both Ben and Marvin Melvin have also nailed this one on the head as well. I mean, one, you already spoke on it, is what the pay scale is over there. They ain't hitting that. They ain't getting close to that. They're not even the same zip code ballpark. However you want to say that. The other side, as we were already talking about, like he's too big for him. One. I mean, what isn't Barstool Sports already paying him right now to basically do exactly what Ben's sitting there saying? Just go over tape, just give off his unfiltered opinion on things. So I don't know if he's going to be on an NFL sideline anytime soon. But pay scale is going to be an issue. You're not going to be able to have that. Two, his personality is going to be bigger than anyone that's in the league. Playing on the field in the skybox, the owners, like he's a bigger personality than they could ever possibly potentially bring in. So you're gonna have a problem with that as well. No one's gonna be able to deal with John. I think it's a nice topic to kind of discuss, but in reality terms, no way. No way it happened. It doesn't happen in any universe. If we're going comic book wise, it's not going to happen anywhere in the multiverse. It's not happening.
Yeah, don't hold your breath. What do you think, George? Is this too
I
far?
don't see. I don't think it's going to happen either. John's up in this what do you call stratosphere over here. He's very talented. I know he's had some itchings to go back to coaching, but yeah, I really think that that would be like, I hate to use the word beneath him, but sort of what you guys were saying. And he still has many good years, I think, left in him if he wants to get back as a head coach or continue broadcasting, whatever. We'll see what happens. But no, he would. I don't think he'd be willing to go to the UFL.
All right, we'll give Candy the last word on it. You got a couple of comments from JD Wyatt worth posting, and then you have the final word on Gruden.
JD says, salute, ladies and gentlemen. The UFL wants to be the developmental league for the NFL, but as long as college ball is around, it will never happen. The UFL would have to find a way to circumvent the 3-year rule from 3 years being removed from circumvent the NFL rule about players being 3 years removed from high school.
Okay, well, good point, JD. All right, Candy, got last word on the topic.
Do I think John Gruden belongs back in the NFL? Yes. Do I think he would ever go to the UFL? I do not. As much as he's done for the NFL and as much as he's developed quarterbacks and everything like that, I don't see him going to the UFL. But then again, you never say never, right? And you never say never and you never say always, because it just could happen. I just don't see it. But back in the NFL, you never know. Maybe someday.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, let's talk about, could we see these players in the NFL? I'm going to take a bunch of players from the undrafted free agents if they don't pan out in training camp. I'm going to mention a list of names, so let's get ready. I'm going to go to Marvin first. Theo Weiss Jr., Missouri wide receiver. What do you think about him?
I don't know a lot about Theo, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't even speak on that. I'll say this. As a guy who was an undrafted free agent who came from the bottom, I wish nothing but the best, and I know what it's like, because as a free agent, regardless of your ability, if you were undrafted, that speaks volumes. That says something. You know what I mean? Sure. In regard to the evaluation, you miss people in that process. You definitely miss players, and there are players who, again, I went from undrafted to playing half the game, in all the games that I was in, every game. So, okay. Theo, good luck.
Okay, I'll just mention a bunch of names. Fair enough. I respect your opinion. But remember one thing, Candy and I saw a good one named by the name of Xavier Restrepo, just so you know. And I'd say he's pretty good. And I say he's really good because he was Cam Ward. Just FYI. But okay, KJ Jefferson, UCF quarterback. What do you know about him?
The UCF quarterback, you said?
Yeah, KJ Jefferson, UCF quarterback.
Don't
worry about it.
Yeah,
that's okay. No big deal. If you don't know about him, no big deal. Just put names out there. Maybe the other panelists might know a little bit more about him. Nick Nash, San Jose State wide receiver.
I think we played San. No, we didn't. I don't know Nick Nash.
Okay. Raheem Sanders, South Carolina running back. Now they're USC though.
No, I believe they had a running back, to be honest with you. But he, again, is not one of those situations where he stuck out to me. That doesn't mean anything. Raheem, good luck.
Okay. Brady Cook, Missouri quarterback.
I've seen him play. Again, he's an undrafted quarterback.
Yeah.
That's a tough spot, man. I mean, it's a tough spot. It is. So for a guy like that, you go to training camp and you just try to get the reps you can, whether it's in drills or anything else. and you take that experience and you let it snowball into the next experience you get. But again, good luck to him.
But you know why I'm asking you these questions, Marvin?
Tell me.
Because as much as you may or may not know, they could very well end up in the United Football League getting reps because of that reason.
Absolutely. Yeah. And listen, I was an NFL Europe guy. So I'm a guy who, if I was playing today,
really?
Yeah, I would absolutely have gone to the UFL because it provides those opportunities, So yeah, I wish these guys the very best. I've been there and they can do it because I did it.
You ever heard of a guy by the name of Michael Keller?
Not offhand, Scott.
Yeah, no, that's okay. He used to be with the old Michigan Panthers. He's been on our shows many years ago, giving us NFL analysis. It's okay.
Okay.
Great, but I'll go back to the Michigan team. Donovan Edwards, Michigan running back.
Very good player.
Yeah.
Very good player. We played against him at USC. I've watched him for the last 2 years and at Michigan, and he's a special player without question. Speed, balance, runs with authority. I like that. He's a very good player.
Okay. Isaiah Bond, Texas wide receiver.
Speed guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, speed guy. Listen, I thought they had a decent offense, and I've seen him play. Listen, in the NFL, in the game where they play with so much space now, everybody's playing spread. If you're a speed guy, like the guy that got at KC, that rookie from last year, listen, that's everything. So more power to you. With that kind of speed, he can probably make a roster.
Okay, the last of the undrafted free agents, and we're going to go over a couple of Canadian Football League players after we go around the panel. DJ Uiagalelei, Florida State.
I liked the man DJU. I rooted for him coming out of California when he was at Clemson and saw him at Oregon State. And, he's a guy who I think showed you flashes, and he was so big. And, with him, it was like you thought he was just potential. At some point, it's going to catch on and click, and he's just going to take off and be the next Cam Newton or something like that. I just don't think that he lived up to the potential, and I think he's a talented kid. Listen, the UFL or CFL, something like that, may be good for a guy like that. I think he's gonna have a tough time as an NFL rookie if he's in a training camp. But I wish him the best. I do.
Well done, by the way, Marvin. This was when you talk about undrafted free agents, they're not easy. I remember one of my favorites of all time was Brandon Powell. I ended up doing a story because he was out of Deerfield Beach High School, ended up making the Lions, and now has a Super Bowl ring in his pocket with the Rams. Great job, Marvin. I'm proud of you. This is not an easy list. It really isn't. But again, the biggest thing I tell everybody watching the show is that's why this list isn't easy, because we figure they could potentially wind up here back in the United Football League. And the easiest way to be able to find them is for undrafted free agents, a.k.a. hidden gems. Well done, Marvin. All right, Ben. You want me to read the players again?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Theo Weiss Jr.
I saw him in college a little bit. I know he with the Dolphins right now. I think the thing about him is, I think like 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds. He got to go out there and make, they're gonna throw the ball around in that Mike McDaniel offense. I look at it like this: if I can go to the UFL, or potentially be in the UFL, and I know what it's like to grind again, the NFL gonna be like, dude, this what y'all doing over? Yeah, man. Ain't no NFL and walk in the park, but it's not gonna be the same thing. Remember, Cam Newton went from Florida to JUCO to Auburn. You see how much different of a player he was. So sometimes, when I think I'm a better player than I'm actually getting looked at it. Sometimes that's my motivation. But I do like T. Weiss. I think he got a shot with. Miami ain't got the big receiver. Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill are not the biggest people you ever seen. They fast, they quick, but there's something about those tall guys with them long arms and catch radius. I think the young man got a shot to make some noise down there in South Beach.
KJ Jefferson.
Man, I saw KJ Jefferson when he was at Arkansas. I saw KJ Jefferson when he went down there to UCF. Big, strong quarterback. Unfortunately for KJ, he has to play how he looks. You got the limit of mistakes. The same thing that people used to say about Cam Ward and say, listen, man, you got to live with his mistakes. KJ Jefferson, he makes too many, and he ain't in the same class as a Cam Ward. Big guy, though. And like I said, I mean, he made a lateral move to go from the SEC to UCF. You know, Gus Malzahn betted, he betted the house on this young man. Now Gus Malzahn is the offensive coordinator for Florida State. So he's no longer there anymore, but I do like KJ.
What about Nick Nash?
I mean, listen, Nick Nash right now got a shot to make my Falcons team. You know why? The Kirk Cousins ain't showing up he ain't showing up to training camp or OTAs right now. And right. I think a guy like Nick Nash is, he has a niche, for himself. He just got to go out there and put his head down. Michael Penix Jr. is going to be the guy in Atlanta, but the NFL wants to get younger and cheaper. And Nick Nash is young. He got a big arm, but he's going to have some guys to throw through, guys like Kyle Pitts and Drake London and so on and so forth. But we'll see what he can do when he get the flowery branch.
Okay, Raheem Sanders.
I mean, what position is Raheem at?
Running back, South Carolina.
Oh man, I knew that name sounded familiar. I mean, I didn't get a chance to see a lot of South Carolina last year because I know they got a big time quarterback, but South Carolina runs the rock. They're one of their best running backs in school history. Their running back coach, I think, right now, or a player personnel guy. Listen, SEC running backs, you want to try to have one on your roster, whether they undrafted free agents or they led the league in rushes. So you get a USC, not a SC. He's a USC running back, not a SC running back. USC running backs usually get drafted. SC running backs, USC running backs go undrafted. SC running backs win Heisman. I want to make sure I put that out there. That's another show for another day. But I hope the young man gets a training camp.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. In case y'all forgot, we got 5.
You didn't know 5. But yeah,
I don't mind advertising that one to you.
Make a name for himself.
Hey, Marvin, just to let you know, by the way, many, many years ago, I did interview O.J. Simpson there at the Orange Bowl.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, it was cool. Wait till I get you on the Motor City Man Mouth show, Mr. Powell. We're gonna have a blast on this show.
I met Juice before, and it was a very positive experience. So I look forward to that.
Mine was too. Yeah, well, I can't wait till you and I get to the Motor City Man Mouth show. Marvin Powell is headed there. Ben Troop is headed there. Christy Jones is headed there. All my teammates are headed there. Okay, let's go to Brady Cook. Ben, you're on a great roll.
I mean, that's quarterback, right? He with the Jets.
Missouri quarterback. Yeah,
Mizzou. Yeah, he threw. I mean, because a lot of his receivers did get drafted. I think because he's going to a Jets, Aaron Glenn is going to give him a fair shake. That Justin Fields is going to be the starter, but that second and third quarterback spot is going to be wide open. I think Aaron Glenn, who just came from a place like Detroit, is going to give a guy like Brady Cook a chance to go out there and see if the young man got some juice to him.
Hey, Donovan Edwards.
Man, I agree, man. I mean, unless you was under a rock, them Michigan. I know everybody want to talk about that two-headed monster at Ohio State with their 2 running backs. Michigan running game was serious the last 2 or 3 years. It's amazing that a guy like that goes undrafted, but he's also with the Jets, right? And I know the Jets got a big time running, but the starters are locked in when you start talking about the Jets. But finding a way on special teams, Donovan Edwards. I mean, you play for a Michigan team. I know he got coached by Harbaugh like a couple of years, so he's a hard-nosed kid. I think he can go out there and make the team on special teams, maybe even find some reps on third down.
Good. Okay, Isaiah Bond, Texas wideout.
The fact that Isaiah Bond didn't get drafted, I mean, I really want to know why. I mean, Texas is known. Listen, the kid is just as fast as Matt Golden. He's just as fast as him. He just went undrafted. I'm not in these. I'm not an analyst like that. I'm not a scout. But you can't coach speed, and the young man has plenty of it. Find a way to get out there on special teams again as a gunner. Find a way to to be that 4th or 5th wide receiver. Them top spots are taken up. I think a kid that played at Texas that can run. Somebody find a way to get that man an NFL spot.
DJ Ugalai is the last one, and then we'll.
I cannot pronounce his young DJ Uiagalelei. DJ.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I've been trying to do my best voice.
I think what hurt DJ U is not the first team he played in the SEC. I mean, the ACC. It was the second one. It wasn't Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
It was Florida State. When you go to Florida State and Mike Norvell and everybody betting on you, and y'all start out overseas, and it just doesn't go well. 6'5", 250. He looks the part. Once again, California kid coming to the East Coast or coming to the South, and Clemson coming right behind what? You coming right behind Trevor Lawrence, and it just didn't go well. I mean, maybe I think he right now I think he's with the Chargers. You know, a guy like Justin Herbert, different build, but you know, similar in height. Maybe he goes out there, man, being back in his home state of California. Maybe familiar place. He can go out there and probably beat it. He's not gonna be when you're a 5-star quarterback going to Clemson and you don't win national championships. You know, coming behind Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, people gonna think you a bust. I just think that he came behind 2 legendary quarterbacks. Hopefully, a place like the Chargers, Harbaugh gonna coach him now. Harbaugh is going to coach him hard, and I'm not saying that they can coach hard at Oregon State, Clemson, or Florida State, but I'm rooting for DJU. You know, I mean, only in a place like college football, you got to know names like Ugalele and Tua Tagovailoa and all these type of crazy names. But I'm always rooting for the players, man. I mean, regardless of what didn't happen, NFL is a fresh start. Rooting for that young man. Okay,
George, anything you want to say about any of these, or?
Well, yeah, I just contributed my 2 cents about Donovan Edwards. You know, he might have been as explosive as some people wanted at Michigan. You know, I'm looking at his stats, and obviously the last couple of years, including the championship year of 2023, and then, of course, last year, 2024. But I like exactly what you said, Ben. You know, when you got a new coach there and that guy that they took away from the Lions, as we know, at the New York Jets. I mean, he has a future ahead of him. Donovan, just work hard, work your butt off, keep your nose clean, as they say. He was a good kid at Michigan, and again, I know the stats weren't as big as some of the fans wanted. He still had 422 rushing attempts and 2,251 yards in his career, which also included 19 touchdowns and 86 catches as a receiver, and another 4 touchdowns as a receiver at Michigan. He had a decent, very good career. I wouldn't say as good as he wanted in Michigan, but I think the Jets bring him along slowly. Like you said, Ben, he's probably not going to start or anything like that, of course, with them. But you know, Aaron Glenn's got some work to do with the Jets, as we know. It is a huge, huge task ahead of him. But I'm looking forward to him. And the other one that you mentioned, Scott, is Cook, the quarterback. You know, again, a guy who had, you know, a couple decent years at the helm at Mizzou, but certainly needs some work done as well. He's another one that I will keep my eye on. I'm just going to limit my thoughts and comments, Scott, to those 2 fellas right now.
Oh, that's fine, George. That's fine. I am totally fine with that. Candy, anything you want to add about all these players?
Well, Donovan Edwards, I mean, I've watched some of his games, obviously, at Michigan. He ran, I believe he had 2. He's the only player to have over 40 yards twice in a national championship game. So he's a hard runner. I could totally see him going to the UFL. You know, any of these players, if they don't make, I know a lot of them sign with the NFL, but if they don't make the NFL teams, there's no shame in going to the UFL. If you love playing, go, you know, work your tail off. Let's face it. Where was Jake Bates a year ago?
Right.
You know, he didn't start in the NFL. He started in this league. So there's proof that some of them do get moved up or bumped up. DJ for Florida State, I've seen a couple of his games. He's a big fella. You never know. I mean, let's face it. There are how many high schools? And from the high schools, then they go to college. And there's how many colleges? When you think about it, in the NFL, there's only how many teams? So all these colleges are feeding into the NFL. You're going to get the best of the best, and you're going to get some that don't want to move forward. So don't be discouraged. If anybody listened to the Chicks podcast before, we talked about dream big and go after your dreams. Go for it. Play your hearts out and see what happens.
I'll piggyback off of Candy for a moment. AJ McCarron's not a bad quarterback either, and he's done all right with the UFL. When you agree there, Marvin, that AJ McCarron himself, when you think about it, there's a guy that did pretty good work with the St. Louis Battlehawks, came back there after he left Cincinnati, and there's many, many others, but Jake Bates and AJ McCarron, Marvin, stand out in my mind. What are your thoughts, Marvin?
Yeah, especially with McCarron. I mean, I've always liked him as a quarterback, to be honest with you, from his days at Alabama. And I think, he's somebody who can use this opportunity to get back into the National Football League without question, and get on a roster. I think he's an NFL quarterback. I think he's one of the top 100 quarterbacks probably out there. So, yeah, AJ for sure. Bates, I don't know. But AJ, this is a good thing for him.
What about you, Ben? What are your thoughts about Bates and McCarron?
I mean, AJ McCarron. I mean, I agree with Marvin. I think sometimes we judge, a guy like him who won 3 natties. He won 3 natties at Alabama. People already start thinking that, is he going to reshape the quarterback position, or is it going to be? I think sometimes we place so much unrealistic expectations on these players, they can't do nothing but go down when they get to the league. And when was playing 10 years a bad career? Because he didn't win Super Bowls. People, how many Pro Bowls you got? How many Super Bowls you got? How many All Pros you got? I've been getting paid by the NFL for 10 seasons. That's 10 drafts that have come and gone. So I just look at longevity in the NFL. To me, is success. Yes, you want to be able to light up the stat sheet, right? Yes, you want to be able to, quote, have an iconic career. But, I mean, Batch, that played all them years for Detroit, Chase Daniels, not to give Chase Daniels any real love, Steven, because you know how I feel about Chase Daniels. Chase Daniels backed up Drew Brees all those years. Man, Charlie Batch said, look, I'm going to make myself, an asset for that many years. So, yeah, Bates and company, man, I'm happy for those guys because I think everybody has dreams of going to the NFL and being a star. But then you get to the NFL and realize, man, give me a role. Let me embrace that role. Let me embody that role and let me do the best at it. And here I am. I'm in the league 10 years later. Ask the wives. Listen, AJ McCarron, I hate to say, AJ McCarron was known for 3 things. Being the quarterback at Alabama, winning national championships, and who he married. And that's Musburger's fault. Musburger, the
I knew I was waiting for that.
Musburger said, guys, you want to play quarterback at Alabama. I'm just saying, I mean, and it's not like he was mad. It's not like AJ McCarron was mad. He was like, oh God, they're showing my future wife on the camera. I'm just saying, so it's good to be AJ McCarron these days. Jared Goff of the world, those type of guys. Hey, man, quarterbacks, they the in position. I ain't mad at them.
Yeah, was it Catherine Webb? I think her name was.
Yeah, I mean, you go from one to play. You go from one to play quarterback, and now you about to marry a supermodel. I ain't mad at him.
Yeah, but you know what? They handled that pretty well, though, didn't they, Marvin? You think about it.
Yeah,
they did. Catherine Webb, Brent Musburger. Hey, he's my idol. I'm not gonna knock Brent. I've actually met him. Yeah. But Catherine, hey, listen, you got good taste in women. I mean, what's so bad about that? And
I think
they're still married.
You caught him. You caught a real raw human situation. You know what I mean? I think he saw something beautiful and just identified it for what it was. I don't think he meant any disrespect at all. But I didn't take it as that, and I think AJ and them in the family took it in stride. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Well,
Musburger know he can get away with that. When you're a veteran in the game like that, sometimes he'll flex his muscle a little bit, but he still kept it respectful and professional. He didn't do, you know what I'm saying? That's a veteran move, man. That's a veteran move.
I've seen people do way worse than what Musburger did. Let's face it, we all know Jared Goff has good taste. That's why he ends up marrying a supermodel Christian Harper. But all right. With that said, we'll talk about a couple more players. Candy, though, it's pretty interesting how you bring up the Bates and then you'll lead me over to AJ McCarron. And by the way, just so everybody on this panel knows that Candy does host a fire-up show, which I call the Country Club. She does an unbelievable job. I've never seen a woman in my life prepare for that show like Candy does. And Marvin, I'm telling you, if you ever have a chance to watch the fire-up show, and you really like it, she'll probably even bring you on too with that group. I'm telling you, this is a group that you got to get here on a Marvin. I'm telling you, this woman here knows more about sports than anybody I've ever seen. Okay, and I'll tell you what she does on that Fire Up show is nothing more than out as Dick Vitale would say when she says, "Awesome, baby." I'm telling you, she's unbelievable.
I'll check it out.
I'll tell you, she bring out as the cast. I have your number. I'll tell you, you go out there and you'll wow this group here. I'll tell you what, that group to me reminds me of the Raiders many years ago. Al Davis would go out there and pick these people off the scrap heap, and then they turn out to be winners. Well, I'm not saying all these guys are on my scrap heap over there, but Candy's done an unbelievable job with that group. George has been on that show, right? How do you think Candy handles that?
I'm a proud alumnus of you, show at the country club there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Marvin. I'm telling you, get out with Candy, and then Ben already loves her to begin with.
Let's do it.
The country club. Well, that's where she's sitting. She's sitting on that chair right now that my mom gave us, and we call it the country club. Great stuff. All right. With that said, a couple more players we're going to talk about. Then we'll talk about some rule changes, and go from there. CFL Tiger Cats release quarterback Talia Tagovailoa out of Maryland, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers released former Michigan Wolverines quarterback Shea Patterson, who, by the way, did play for the Michigan Panthers. You see, Marvin, any of those two guys resurfacing anywhere?
The quarterback from Maryland got cut.
Yeah,
to his brother?
Baby Tua.
Oh,
Baby
man.
Tua. You don't know that? Guess what?
No.
You live in?
I didn't know. I like this. I like that kid at Maryland. I thought he was the real deal. I'm shocked. Listen, I hope the kid. I hope he makes the roster. Where is he at now?
He's a free agent, my brother.
Okay, all right. Listen, I liked him in college. The college game doesn't always translate. A lot of times when you see the brother and the last name, you hope and you assume and you think maybe it's another version of Tua. Obviously, it's not. But I liked him in college, and I think it wouldn't shock me at some point if he evolved to be an NFL quarterback. I hope he takes advantage of the UFL and the CFL and all the spring leagues and goes through that process as he should. We'll see.
Now, Shea Patterson was the other guy. He was in the UFL, or at that point in time was the USFL. Do you see him resurfacing back in the UFL?
I'm not familiar with him. I'm not familiar.
That's okay. Oh, that's George Eichhorn's territory. Don't worry about Marvin. I got. So with that, we'll go ahead and segue to Eichhorn on this Michigan connection. Well, it's okay, Marvin. Yeah. I got some rule changes you're going to talk about that you're going to have some fun.
Right.
All right. So his career. Okay, he went from U of M and then was Kansas City Chiefs, and then right to the CFL after his Chiefs career, which was only one season or less than. BC Lions, Montreal, and then with the Panthers, and then he's moved around so many times. I saw him in a few of the games with the Panthers here in Detroit. I was not impressed. I was expecting more things from him coming from Michigan, and I know some people call that a quarterback factory. Not quite, of course it isn't, but we all know that with Harbaugh as coach, Shea had a lot of reps, and I thought he would play better. I thought he'd have a better post U of M career, but he did not. So as much as I like the guy personally, I think that it's going to be difficult for him to bounce back. Like you said, Scott, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers was his last team here in 2025. Well, we'll see. I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, he could end up back in the UFL. I'm not sure, but he could. And the other player that you mentioned?
To his brother, Talia Tagovailoa.
Oh, yeah. And again, like you guys have stated, I thought too that there were going to be better things from him. That it's very tough, as you guys know that have played in the league or other leagues. It's extremely hard to make it in the NFL. I wish him well, but his time he's on a short lease as far as his time frame goes to get back into football. But UFL, possibly, maybe another year or so. We don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Steven, we're going to talk about these two quarterbacks.
I kind of gonna echo the sentiments of Baby Tua here. Like I think all of us kind of felt that it wasn't just the namesake carrying him, giving him his opportunity. So it's one of those things where you hope and you pray you see a guy develop and pick the tools up necessary to excel at the next level. And sometimes you have them and you just don't get the opportunities to kind of let it manifest itself in, bad lucks, injuries, bad team, bad coach, wrong coach. I mean, there's just so many different things that you could say why this person isn't panning out the way you think. So hopefully he lands somewhere and gets another opportunity. So, same with this other kid. You just got to hope that he's able to get an opportunity to show that he's a better player on the field than he's been able to show up to this point.
Okay, Ben.
Yeah, I do think Baby Tua does get a bad rap because his brother did. So his brother is doing great things, did such incredible things at Alabama, and you look at a guy like Shea Patterson who was at Michigan. Sometimes, man, the school you pick is not a gift. It's not helping you because people are looking at what your team is doing around you and they're saying, okay, is it the team or you helping the team become those things? Look, the UFL means that I get to continue my career professionally. I get paid to play football. You know how many players just want an opportunity to play football for money? I don't care if it's UFL, CFL, AFL, and I think sometimes we get to thinking, man, well, he ain't as good as his brother. Okay, everybody, Torrey Holt's brother played safety. He wasn't as good as him. Michael Jordan kids both played basketball. They weren't as good as their dad. Yes, you're gonna have a Ken Griffey and a Ken Griffey Jr. Sometimes it'll happen that way. Yes, you're gonna have players, like Marvin Powell the Jr. or the third. That happens, but unfortunately, we get judged with those type players, and it ain't everybody. And I don't think Baby Tua followed Coach Loxley. Coach Loxley used to be the offensive coordinator for Alabama when Tua was there. That's how he got the head coach job in Maryland. And Baby Tua followed him to Maryland. Problem is his last name is still Tagovailoa, and people expecting to see that, and it just didn't happen. But I do hope those guys put their head down and just play hard. I think, like I said, we think all quarterbacks gonna look like Lamar or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. No, those are the rarest of the rare. Those are the rarest of the rare. Those are the rarest players in the world. Hopefully those guys get an opportunity, man. Ain't no shame in playing in the UFL. There are thousands of players who would have loved to have continued their career past college, and they wouldn't have cared which. I don't care. Pick a league. Chad Ochocinco went to the CFL, and the first thing he said was, "A lot of these dudes supposed to be in the league, man." Yeah, but just like Marvin said, there was so much room, there was so many slots. So sometimes it's the numbers game, not your game. It's the numbers game. Every kid coming out in the draft going first round, just ask them. Oh, they got me going between like pick 20. You guys 100 kids, so it ain't their fault, man. Sometimes it's just circumstance, but hopefully, what did Nick Saban say, man? What got you here ain't good enough to keep you here, but you're gonna have to put your head down and keep playing. And who knows, man? Those guys can end up having a moment. Nick Foles, ladies and gentlemen, is a Super Bowl champion. You know why? Because he was a backup. He put his head down, and when they called his number, he delivered. So it can happen. Just got to be ready when your number's called.
All right, Katie, last word. Anything you want to add quickly on this? We got a few more things we want to get to.
Obviously, when your chance is there, take it, go for it, do what you can with every opportunity you can, because you just never know when you're gonna get the chance to get to your dreams. So,
okay,
good for him.
All right, Candy alluded to this before. We're going to go quickly on this because I have a few other big topics I want to get to. So some of these things I'll move along a little bit quicker for the sake of flow. Okay, number one, 9-point conversion, 3-point play. Marvel, what are your thoughts? I remember when the Michigan Panthers were down by 9 and they tied the football game with a 3-point conversion and 9-point play. That was just unbelievable.
So again, a 3-point play as an option for the offense here. Is that what?
Right.
That's what, okay.
Right.
You know something? At the end of the day, I think that the game evolves. I think that in these leagues, you can do stuff like that just to make yourself different, more appealing. And I think at the end of the day, if it works and it's something that they stick with, I think it's something that you'll see maybe the NFL, maybe as the game evolves, look at. So I don't know, but that's different. That's different.
That's why I titled the show as the UFL Any Value to the NFL for this particular reason. It is different, like you just said.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
great.
Yeah,
Great point. I'm telling you, Marvin, you're on a roll for all the right reasons. Just so you know. Okay. So with that said, we're going to talk about transparency on replays. Candy alluded to it earlier. You got Dan Blandino and Mike Pereira. The in-game interviews as well with the coaches and the players. How often do you get a chance to interview a head coach for a period of time beyond one question, let alone see the offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators call the signals, as well as the ability to change calls because Pereira and Blandino are looking. I mean, if that isn't transparency, please explain to me, Marvel, what transparency is, because I don't even know. What do you think about all of what I just said?
That was a lot, Scott. What you just said, to be honest with you, that was a lot.
You want me to repeat it? I'm kidding with you.
No. But
they always say I'm a mouthful.
No, listen, that's what got you here, man. That's what got you here, and I'm learning, Scott. I'm learning.
You're doing great. You're a quick study, man. I'm glad you learned faster than me.
And so, in regards to the transparency deal, I don't know if I fully grasp what you're saying, to be honest with you.
Well, the transparency, really, what that means is they're letting the fans know that they can change the calls right up in the booth, right then and there. Hey, you made a mistake. This
I got you.
That.
I think it's phenomenal. I think that's a very good thing.
Right.
I'm with that. Listen, I know that human error is part of the game. We accept that in every sport and all that stuff, and that it is what it is. But these guys work so hard, and there's so much that you put on the line that if you can get it right for the game, get it right. So I'm with that 100%.
I don't know about you, but I'm learning a lot watching these guys, Pereira and Blandino, explaining why they made the rule change. They're making it really simple for the audience to understand, in addition to what they're educating on the field. And as far as we talked about the 3-point play, and what are your thoughts about the coordinators and the coach talking live as the game goes on?
I think that's just entertaining. I think it's entertaining to a degree. I think it provides. It's great for communication, obviously, which is great for the offense. But I think it's just part of what we're getting into in this digital world where everything is aired, and people want like reality shows. They want to get the inside scoop and hear it and see it. This is where we're going, I think.
And these player interviews on the field are great too, aren't they?
You know something? Sometimes I think that they should give the player they should cut it down a little bit, to be honest with you. Okay. But again, it's great for the fans. It's great for the game. It lets you get an inside peek, get more insight.
Okay, that's great job, Marvin. You kept well. Wow.
Thank you.
That was a loaded topic too. Then again, everything else has been tonight. Don't worry, Marvin. I promise you, in future shows, it does get a little bit easier. I promise.
It's all good.
All right. Okay, Ben, you heard it. I don't have to repeat myself, do I?
No, man. The 3-point play, I agree with Marvin. Look, listen, we're not the NFL, we're the UFL. Don't come over here thinking we're going to do what they do over there. There's nuance over here. We are trying to grow our game. That is the greatest game over there. So don't ask me about them. This is what we're doing over here. As far as the coaches and all the transparency, no, they're showing how sophisticated football is. Everybody thinks football is easy. Oh man, they're just calling the play and running it. Listen to that play call. And when they trying to do the transparency when getting plays wrong, no, you get plays wrong. Plays only are right when the players execute them right. Coach can call whatever. If we execute it, coach will look brilliant, and we don't, and man, get rid of it. But the UFL isn't afraid to take the lid off and say, "Let me show you how our whole thing runs." We don't mind showing y'all that because we want you guys to know we are an open book. We ain't hiding from nobody. We are giving these players won't access until they get it like they get in the UFL. You got the sweat coming off your face, breathing heavy. Hey man, tell us about that drop. God dog, dude, I dropped it. But in a sense, the UFL is kind of showing NFL players how to deal with criticism and feedback in real time. Because you don't do that with NFL players. You're not going up. I mean, yes, I like the UFL is showing that, listen, man, we're pros too. A lot of us played in the NFL. And a lot of us can handle what comes with it. And they know that I could be growing the game for players not named myself. I could be doing it for the next generation of players. So I'm trying to make it. So I like the transparency. And listen, they won't say it out loud. Let something go really, really well in the UFL and watch how fast the NFL adopt it. Mm-hmm. Let something in the UFL catch on, NFL gonna steal it. I'm telling that right now. So I like what the UFL does because it's giving exposure to the coaches, to the players, to the refs, anything that can get exposure right there, they're giving it to us. So I'm a fan of that. And once again, ain't no shame in calling you are a UFL player, brother. You a pro, but I only make you make money to play football. If you do it in the spring, you do it in the spring. If you get to make an NFL team, cool. But you're gonna be so much more prepared if you do go back to an NFL team because you bring in a different level of professionalism. If you do, you come back over there saying, "Oh, okay," because let's face it, if I've only been in the NFL, I could be very, 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 very entitled, very, very spoiled because I think that I think I'm this and that. This guy Cam Newton said when he went to that JUCO, he said, "Hey man, who wash our uniform? Us? What? Because he coming from Auburn. I mean, he coming from Florida. He had to, you know what I'm saying? So, hey man, had to hit that reboot. But I'm rooting for them UFL players, man. 3-point plays. Oh, and to every former NFL player that's not in the league thinking that I would dominate the UFL, go there. You ain't dominating. Like I said, Chad Johnson went to the CFL thinking that he gonna look like he did when he had Carson Palmer. Do you remember Chad Johnson in the CFL? Me neither. But he was there. But them DBs like, dude, you trying to come over here and make us look bad? All right. I'm just telling you, Chad Johnson looked back. Love Chad now. I ain't coming at Chad, but Chad looked the same in the CFL like he did when he was in New England. Do you remember Chad Johnson in New England? Me neither. I'm just telling you, don't play with these players' names because you a bigger name than them. And you come over there with that, they're gonna shut you down. So I'm rooting for every last player. 3-point plays, 4-point plays, transparency. Let's get it, fella, because some of these but they do the transparency when they mess up the plays because the fans know. The fans ain't stupid now. Candy was like, dude, that's a dumb play. And then you see why it was a dumb. Call the right play, get off the field. Get off the field out there.
Great stuff. All right, Steven.
Yeah, as again, our panel members are absolutely murdering it tonight. When you're looking at the state of how we consume pro football is having the transparency, having the back and forth with the players and coaches like in real time is just it's entertainment, first and foremost. I know, some of your purists, it's taken away from the game, they're distracting the play. Like, listen, we're in a different age where things are just done in a different manner. It doesn't matter if we're talking about UFL, NFL, college football, whatever. The fans want more. They want it right now, and both the league and your networks are doing everything to give that to them. The rule changes. Absolutely, you want to see things that are getting people excited. 3-point plays, 4-point plays would certainly, like if you're looking at it on the NFL side of thing, would make things interesting when you have a close game when you're getting down there in the last 4 minutes, 2 minutes of a game and having a team opportunity to kind of flip the score on somebody when that they've been losing all game long, and all of a sudden they find themselves within 3 points, and all of a sudden now they got a 2-3 point lead because you have plays like that. So I'm all forward to making the game fun, to making the game interesting, and reiterate what we've been saying. Hopefully the UFL is successful. I don't know if they're going to be, a direct feeder league to what the NFL is. I still think that's going to be even more of a problem as as the NFL expands, and I think they're going to expand the roster, giving teams a bit more availability to put guys on the practice squad and things of that nature. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to not just get guys and keep them in the league, but keep them from the NFL stealing what little talent they do have right now.
Okay, well, I want to go over a couple more things. George and Candy have a chance to comment. Then I want to move this thing along even quicker, just in case you folks on my YouTube channel. I did have an opportunity to do an interview during the Super Bowl with Daryl Moose Johnson to talk about the United Football League and what plans he has for it. So go ahead and please look that up. Daryl Johnson on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Moose spent about 30 minutes or so. You'll get a lot of good information there. George and Candy, real quick, and then I'm going to get to some things. We'll have everything wrapped up in about 25 minutes or so. Go ahead, George.
Well, it's just it is a different game. And Steve, you nailed it. I mean, I'm one of the old guys from way back when. Okay, if I'm a referee on that field or an umpire or one of the line judges, jeez, oh man, you think I'm happy with these guys sitting in the booth and looking over all my calls? Hell no. You know they're not happy about it, but it happens because we need transparency. And like you said, the fans are demanding it, the coaches, the owners are demanding it. And it's a very difficult job to be an official in the NFL, UFL, college, whatever. It's not easy, but the transparency is here to stay. It's not going to change. What I don't need is games being 3.5 hours like some of these college games are, because they look at too many damn plays. I'm sorry to use that language, but I don't want college games continuing to be 3.5 hour games. That's not right for the fans. And I understand you got commercials, you got to take all these breaks, blah, blah, blah. Super Bowl is super long. We know that because of the show, the intermission. Well, I'm just saying that, there's a certain point where, you can't review every single play. We know that. And I know there are guidelines in the NFL. College seems to be a little bit more lenient about reviews. That being said, no. I mean, it's tough being an official down there, but man, as the old saying goes, Scott, you got to get it right.
Okay, Candy.
The NFL has a proven product. They have the best talent. So in order for the UFL to compete, to gain traction, they have to be different. So I love the fact that they are doing different things like the 3-point play. I mean, that means we're not seeing a kicker go out there and try and kick a field goal or an extra point after the touchdown. It depends on if they're going on the 2-yard line, the 5-yard line, or the 10-yard line. So they got to score again. And I think that makes for more exciting because everybody loves offense. Everybody loves those kind of plays. I love the fact that they do review things, that they talk about it, so that as a common fan that doesn't know all of the rules, you learn the rules by watching these games and watching the transparency and them talking about it. And even when they have the coaches in there when they're talking about the different play that they're going to run. It's kind of interesting to hear all of the different plays that they have. Basically, most of us always think, the quarterback's going to pass it. Okay, well, who's he going to pass it to and what kind of routes are they going to run? I like that it's very different and it more openly talks about that kind of stuff.
All right, let me go over a few basic facts everybody should know. We'll just call them FYIs, okay? And purely that. The one thing that summarizes the show here pretty much is you put the innovative football minds to work. And what do you have? Interesting rule changes and so forth, right? Because you got a lot of great football minds in the United Football League for sure. Now, can you imagine this football? You talk about a holiday sport. We got football on Memorial Day weekend, and we have it on Mother's Day. How about that Mother's Day football? I don't know if it quite makes it to Father's Day, but we got Mother's Day football, Memorial Day. Not too bad. Now we got all the military holidays covered with the two. And here's just an imagined fact. Can you imagine if the United Football League and the CFL had merged and turned into a North American league? I doubt it would ever happen anyways, because you got too much disparities in the rule. And what field are you going to use all that? And you have the 2 downs versus a 3 down. But it's worth putting out there. I'm only going to ask 2 people this question real quick, and I'm going to limit it to 2. What do you think about, Marvin, if the UFL and the CFL ever merged?
You know something? There was a time when, before the 1970 merger, people thought that was far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, football is a growing sport. It's an international sport. It's a business over everything. And, in the CFL, they've been able to establish teams and identity and, Toronto and Hamilton and all this stuff. The UFL, not so much. It's new, and I don't know if you have the same local loyalty that you have in the CFL, but there's so much football love. There's some people who love the game. Would it shock me? No, it wouldn't shock me. Not if the UFL were able to gain ground, and get their viewership up, and get people in those local cities to really rally behind those teams and spend that money to go to the games and so on and so forth. No, it wouldn't shock me, but I don't see it happening. So, because it is it's football. It's football. You lace it up and you go get it. But I think that their offense in the CFL is really based on having a bigger field, I think. You can condense that into the normal spread, but, would it shock me? Nah. Is it going to happen? Nah. So that's how I look at that.
Well, Danny McManus told me the CFL doesn't have tight ends. So there you go. I didn't know that until that. And if you ask me what that Rouge play where they kick it way out of the park and they get a point, we're doing. Turn it over to Ben. These are the only two people I want to talk about this, or a couple of other news items I want to get to. Go ahead. What are your thoughts about this imaginable thing that is not inevitable, Ben?
I mean, the reason why I don't think it's going to happen is because the CFL is already a big time, commodity, and the UFL don't want to have to follow their lead. If I'm bigger than you, you got to listen to me a little more because because we merging. But I agree with Marvin. It's like the CFL is a different league. That's built for O-line, D-line, and wide receiver. That it's like they just throw the ball around the whole time. It's an exciting game to watch, but it's a different game than what you watch in the UFL. So listen, anything is possible. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is gonna listen to anything that's gonna make money because he did the right thing when he got the UFL. But I just think that Canada and the US, we ain't the best of friends right now. Not getting political at all. I just think that for something like that to happen, man, cooler heads gonna have to prevail. But I agree with Marvin. At the end of the day, the CFL said, "Look, man, we good over here. It's been working. Y'all want you want to play in Canada? Come to Canada. Come on up here to play. But you want us to merge down there? Because I don't know how long it took the CFL to get to what they got as far as like getting a league like that. You gonna have to, if you merge, it's almost like you starting over. So I don't see the CFL want to do that. Hey man, we gonna play football in the spring. Call it the UFL, the CFL. We, hopefully they can keep doing what they're doing. But I don't see it happening anytime soon. Because like I say, if what they say, big bank take little bank. If I'm bigger than you or you want to merge with me, I mean you get a say so, but you don't get the final say. And the UFL is not going to. I don't see them doing that. I don't see them doing that.
All right, now we go to a rapid fire segment, and I mean rapid fire. According to Mark Perry, who by the way was my guest on the Motor City Man Mouse show when I did this in March. He says 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady is interested in purchasing a UFL team. He also lives in the Tampa Bay area. The UFL filed a trademark for the Tampa Bay Bandits, and that trademark occurred on May 6th. I'm going to ask everybody very quickly, can you see Tom Brady as an owner of a UFL team, let alone one with the Bandits, who, by the way, used to be partly owned by Burt Reynolds? I'll go to Marvin real quick.
Absolutely. Why not add that to the portfolio? That's what you do when you get to a certain point, right? It's about elevating in the game, and that's what you see. And I love to see former players making these moves and changing their narrative and driving the reality of, players have evolved, into businessmen. And Tom and Alex and A-Rod and these guys are doing it at a very high level. Great for them and their families.
Okay. Ben.
Absolutely. Yes, Tom Brady already part owner, unless he got ownership in the Raiders. If I live in Tampa, I want to own more than just my house down there. So, yeah, if they get the Tampa Bay Bandits, yeah, I can see Tom. Listen, and he won't be the only owner either. If Tom Brady owns the team, you know who's coming right behind him? Gronk. I get Edelman. I'm just Tom. Listen, Tom Brady don't make a lot of bad decisions, people. I'm just telling you, if he invested in it, You know, I can see guys like Derek Brooks and former, you know, Warren Sapp, you know, Rondé Barber, them guys doing it too. So yeah, man, the Tampa Bay Bandits, if they become a reality, I mean, shout out to Tom, man, doing big things, man. Since he walked away from football, he ain't what $350 million to go to the booth or owner of the Raiders. Life is looking up, man, for Tom Brady these days.
Great stuff. Love that, Ben. All right, Steven.
I mean, I think it could happen. I don't know if it will. I mean, hell, you know, we've seen crazier things happen. There's rumors running around that Shaq's going to be part of a new co-owner for the DC universe over there with James Gunn and them getting involved in the comic book world. So, I mean, if Shaq can do stuff like that, Shaq was even involved in Bare Knuckle for a period of time when they first got started off. So, seeing some of these larger athletes getting involved in other things and owning other teams and things like that, it's not so far-fetched. The question is, will he? Is there language involved that he's not allowed to own another team, another football franchise? That'd probably be the only real thing preventing it. But I mean, I'm all for it. Like let these guys have fun. Let these guys, tinker around and see if they can make some of these other organizations better.
George Eichhorn?
No. And I'll say no only because he wants NFL action. I don't think he'll go for the UFL. I think he wants NFL. We already see what's happened with the Raiders and the situation involving Brady over there. I really think that that Tom would stick with the NFL. And that's from my gut, I'm thinking. So I'll say no to UFL for him, but yes to NFL.
Candy?
Why not? He's a businessman now at this point, and he's got lots of money. Let him put it wherever he wants to, and if he wants to enhance the UFL league, great. Throw money there. Just him putting money there would attract some more investors, more talent. Go for it. Wherever like I said, he's now a businessman at this point. Go for it.
I'll say this. Having covered the Tampa Bay Bandits back in the day in the 80s, Bandit Ball, Steve Spurrier, I'd love to see it back. Tom Brady's behind it. More power to him. All right, we'll continue on. The league is unhappy with the turnouts in Birmingham and Houston, with Memphis being on its own island with its size of FedEx owner Fred Smith. Get this, though. In a recent game here, you had the Arlington Renegades taking on Memphis, and I'll tell you what, at Simmons Liberty Bank Stadium, 2,044 showed up for that game. Ouch. So with all that said, okay, the league recently filed 4 new trademarks. You got the Oakland Invaders, Philadelphia Stars, Tampa Bay Bandits, New Jersey Generals, and Seattle and Columbus are still cities in play for expansion. Now, if 4 new teams are added to the UFL in 2026, the likelihood is that the Roughnecks and the Showboats will be relocated, according to Mike Mitchell. So let's just talk about this. This will be our final topic of the night. What are your thoughts, Ben, about a return to Oakland? Because let's face it, if you don't have an NFL city, and now Oakland, the Invaders, could easily go back to the Coliseum. We saw how well it's worked out in St. Louis, and I would love to see San Diego get a team. Ben, what are your thoughts about all 4 scenarios? You got New Jersey and Philadelphia. It's not a matter of if, it would be a matter of when. And 2 get relocated. How do you like the direction of these particular 4 cities? Maybe Seattle and Columbus later, but let's just focus on these 4 for now. Ben, we'll start off with you.
New Jersey and Philadelphia, obviously, that's already built in. You're going to be able to take from those, NFL franchises there. So I think that's a no-brainer. It is a travesty that Oakland, California does not have a pro football team. That is right. I don't care what no one says. Certain things should never happen, man. Oakland, Golden State, they in San Francisco. The A's gone, the Raiders gone. That's a football town, man. Oakland is a football town, right? It's called the freaking town. They call it the town. Right. I don't know if you've ever been to Oakland. So I do think where you put these teams have a lot to do. And here's the thing, even getting back to what you said earlier about only 2,000 fans show up, you can't sell. You got to give away some of these tickets. Everyone knows with new franchises, you got to sell some and give some away. You making them pay for it. Think about that. I want to come to a UFL game. How much is it? $30 per person? Are you? I'm just saying, certain stuff to me. Look, I've worked with people in marketing, man. Marketing is a campaign. It's a strategy that you put together to get people to show up. I mean, you want me to get a team that I couldn't tell you who the quarterback was, coach was, and you want me to pay, and I got to pay for concessions, and I got to pay the park, and I got to pay for a jersey? Absolutely not. But yeah, I do think going back to some of these cities that already had NFL franchises there recently, or they got them there now, I think that makes the selling point a lot easier, because I guarantee you can get current NFL players to work to do like marketing stuff with the UFL players. They willing to do that for pennies on the dollar, So I do like that direction. Hopefully it becomes relevant.
Well, I'll say this much. The biggest mistake they made in Houston was they didn't bring back the Houston Gamblers name. You had Jim Kelly there. And if you go to the New Jersey Generals, I'll tell you this right now, Herschel Walker, remember him? And I actually had a chance to meet Donald Trump many years ago at the USFL championship game. He was actually nice to me. You imagine that. But then again, he was a president. Who knows what it would be like if I hit him up with competing with the NFL. Then he'd probably fire me like he does everybody else. But still. But when you think about it all, New Jersey makes sense. Philadelphia makes sense. Oakland makes sense. We know about Tampa. And, of course, Seattle, Columbus, the unknowns. All right, Marvin, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I think Ben hit it on the head. You got cities like Oakland who are football hungry. They thirsty, they have football culture already there. In regards to, this team only having 2,000 fans show up, Ben said it. Listen, let all these kids in elementary school, middle school, build you a fan base. Start young, create loyalty when they're young. Let them in the stadium. Let them watch the game. Give them a real fan experience. Create a community experience. I wish them the best of luck if they're looking to move and they're going to go to Oakland and some of these places, because I think there's a base, there's a culture, and I think there's an opportunity there. But they got to bring in these young fans and try to build some type of loyalty. You have loyalty in the CFL. You have loyalty in the NFL. This league needs to do something to get similar results of loyalty.
Yeah, no question about it. Again, Oakland Coliseum has cricket. Okay, well, now they need a UFL team to at least get football back in there as well. Steven, go ahead. Of course, Jim Kelly played, as I said, Houston Gamblers. So you're bringing a lot of these teams with at least a little bit of history, but we don't see the Houston team much longer. Go ahead, Steven.
I mean, listen, we already got the lineage here in Philadelphia. It's always going to be a football town, no matter if it's the Philadelphia Stars or the Philadelphia Eagles. That you're going to get people to tune in and watch football. Even when the Philadelphia Soul was here, they packed the house. They had fun. They brought some championships. You had Jaworski and Bon Jovi a part of that franchise when it was here. So, but I'm going to agree with the sentiment of Ben. Like, Oakland has nothing. It's barren now. They have nothing, and they probably have a lot more lineage than some of these other places. So it's kind of a one of these things where we need to bring the sports back to the city of Oakland, regardless if it's a pro football, pro baseball, whatever. They've been stripped of everything. The city of Oakland. So hopefully they get something going there. We'll see how the new teams develop, the expansion works, and how the league will hopefully continue to grow.
George?
Well, you got some very interesting cities that you've named there. Obviously, you have to look at a situation where can they support a second team? The Michigan Panthers struggled this year with their attendance. It's a little bit down from previous seasons. They've been in third time now, 3 straight years they've been in now it's UFL. All this to be said, teams that really need a franchise, San Diego, okay? I go with San Diego, I would go with Oakland, and another one is Portland, Oregon. Now, if you want to establish a real nice situation out west, you get those 3 cities. I think they could support this league. I really do. I'm not saying no to Philadelphia. They would be my 4th choice. but I really think that out in California, you got hungry fans that want to see football on a better level than they get now. So I would go with like in that order. I would go San Diego, Oakland, Portland, and Philly.
Fair enough. And like I said, I like what Steve mentioned. Ron Jaworski's name in Philadelphia, so few people realize about him. Candy, you have the last word on this.
I think there are definitely some cities that could support it more. I think it also depends on like the stadium. It depends on when you have the games. It depends on what else you market with the game. Yeah, yes, you do need to give away some of those tickets. You do need to have something that draws some of these people in. Um, I I've seen we were watching the game on Sunday or Saturday was it this weekend, and it was Michigan, and you looked at the stands and there was hardly anybody in those stands, and I'm like, okay, what else can we do? It was in the middle of the day, it was hot, it's not a covered stadium. Okay, so is that football weather? Is that what people think of football weather? What else can they do? I think, they need to market it better though, because I think that will help. Um, can they sustain it? Yeah, I think there are definite some cities that could sustain it maybe better. And is it fair that some of the NFL cities get a second team? Is it fair that Michigan has Detroit, has two, or some that don't have any? I know that Milwaukee doesn't have a team. They have the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are not in Milwaukee. That's not but I think there are some other towns that could definitely support him. I almost could even see Madison, Wisconsin supporting it. Some of these big college towns that have these big college stadiums, some of those towns might be able to support them too.
Interesting point. It'd be a shame though if Birmingham ever loses a team because they have all the championships right now. I know they're struggling, but so they need to get that situation straight. A couple of UFL notes, by the way. The standings are as such. Michigan is 6-3, so is Birmingham. They'll play, I believe, in the USFL championship game. Houston is 4-5, and Memphis is 2-7. The St. Louis Battlehawks are 7-2, and they'll take on DC Defenders in the XFL championship game. Arlington is 4-5, and unfortunately for San Antonio, they're 1-8. The respective championship games are on June 8th. You're going to have the United Football League championship game at the Dome at America Center in St. Louis, Missouri on June 14th. So who knows? Maybe the Battlehawks will end up having a chance to win a championship in front of their own home crowd, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that pretty much does it for Inside the Pigskin tonight. Any closing thoughts real quick, Marvin? And then while you're giving those, please let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
These are my closing thoughts going back to the first part of this whole conversation.
Sure.
My wife and my kids, okay, are my greatest love over everything, as it should be. My first love is the USC Trojans since I was like 8 or 9 years old, okay? So going back to that first segment that we was talking about, legacy, so on and so forth. Ben, I don't know if they got you in recruiting or if you've always been a Gator, but I've been down with these Trojans since like 8 or 9 years old. You know what I mean? So it was the first something that I really loved and cared about and cried about and had anxiety as a kid, Those are my last thoughts. In regards to getting a hold of me, I'm on Facebook. The name says it all. That's it. Marvin Powell III, Facebook. Direct message me, whatever. Let's connect. Thank you guys very much. This has been a lot of fun, Scott.
Hey, you know what, Marvin? I am looking forward to having you on a lot more shows, and you have a date with the Motor City Man Mouse Show, TBD. Absolutely. But Marvin, you're a great addition to the staff, and we're excited to have you. George Eichhorn has to promote real quick. Do so very quickly, and then we'll put Steven and the rest.
All right. I write for the South Florida Tribune, and under the Motor City Tribune, I contribute as well. I wrote a book called Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air, and it chronicles the great broadcasters we've had in Detroit. And there's a link to that book There it is. There's a link to it at the end of my column. You can link to Amazon to pick up a copy. You can find me on any number of great shows here on the network, including 108 Stitches and the Sports Exchange. And obviously, I'm happy to be a guest here tonight. So thanks, everybody. Great show tonight, and look forward to seeing you. Best way to reach me, gicorn@yahoo.com or SanGSports99 on X or Twitter. Thank you.
So there you go, Marvin. You have two authors on the same show. How about that? All right.
Lucky me.
There you go. All right. Ben, go ahead.
It's always a pleasure being on, with you guys every Tuesday. George, it was a pleasure meeting you, Candy. You remain the Rolls Royce, of this show. Marvin, man, listen, man. I'm looking forward to just working with you in the future, sir, man. I love the energy, but I'm with you though, Marvin. Look, at the end of the day, no, I didn't grow up no Florida Gator. I'm from Georgia. I knew about the Georgia Bulldogs, right? But Steve Spurrier recruited me. When Steve Spurrier come to your crib, my only line was to say, Coach, I see you in Gainesville. Did I tell you South Carolina I was coming to South Carolina? Yep. Did I tell Tommy Bowden I was coming to Clemson? Yep. Did I tell Jim Dunn at Georgia I was coming to Georgia? Yep. And I lied because I knew I was going to Florida the whole time. But I thank God for these unique opportunities. But at the end of the day, BJ, my son, listen to me. I want you to go where you want to go, and I'm gonna steer you right towards Gainesville. You ain't going to what? Listen. I troll certain people, Scott and Steve, and George and Marvin and Candy, and one of the team that I troll the most is Georgia. I troll them the most. You know why? Because they are the only team in college football that don't realize you have to root for Georgia in everything. You can't root for Duke during basketball season. They do that. They go, wait a minute. We got to root for Georgia during basketball season? Yes. They don't know that. So, I'm just saying, listen, respect Georgia. But only college football can make you respect guys' names Kirby and Dabo and Jimbo because they won championships, right? I am like Marvin. My son, he got raised right. He ain't going to Athens. Where am I going to meet him at? Walmart? No. My son's going to Gainesville. He ain't, listen, I don't care where he goes, just as long as it ain't Gainesville. Just as long as it ain't Athens. As long as it ain't Athens. And I know what y'all saying. What if you go to Florida State? I can live with that. What if you go to Miami? I can live with that. He ain't going to Georgia. If my son is in Georgia.
Hey, Ben, real quick, how they get a hold of you? Our stuff is at the bottom of the ticker. Real quick.
At being Troop84 on X. I think I'm on Facebook. I try not to be because my mama got a Facebook page, so I try not to be on Facebook too much. But I am on there. And I'm at being Troop84 on IG as well.
He's a man. He's on every Tuesday night with us. Steven, real quick.
Oh, and this is my book right here. Hold on, I got it. Hold on. I know y'all can't hardly see that.
No, we got 3 authors. Good stuff.
No.
And you can find that on our website under his bio as well.
There we go. Can y'all see it? There we go.
There you go.
Boom.
You got it?
And Marvin, man, send me your address. I'm gonna send you a copy, big time. I got you.
You got to get me one too, man. I'll get you one. All right.
We'll do. Thank you.
All right, Steven,
the only thing I'm going to say is make sure you guys are locked in tomorrow afternoon because me and Ben are not going to be on tomorrow morning. We're going to be on tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to be joined by NFL veteran Marcus Pollard. So enjoy the interview, everyone. Enjoy the evening, everyone. We're going to be back here causing a whole lot more ruckus. So make sure you guys are locked in.
Yeah, Steven is. All you guys have been great. Can't you just put our book up real quick? All of our information is at the bottom of the ticker as well. Just want to make sure everybody enjoyed this show here. Marvin's debut could not have been any better and could have been scripted like anything else. And yes, we have a couple latecomers. What's going on? Joshua Dore, we're wrapping up. Dog check. All right, I'll give it to you. Severuski, dog check. Scotty, there you go. We'll get those in before we go silent. So there you go. Joshua Dore. Hope you can watch this one and entertain you. We've got some new teammates here. So with that said, on behalf of my excellent crew, we want to thank Marvin Powell for being on, and we're looking forward to having Marvin on more shows. And we got George Eichhorn as well, Stephen Reichel will join me on Thursday night. Kendry has the country club on Thursday night. And Ben, what can I say, my man? You're the best. the Gator Boy will be ready to do business with a Hurricane next week. So we got USC, we got the Hurricanes. My goodness, it don't get any better than that. And we got a UCLA guy. We got it all covered, everybody. Inside the Pit Kid says goodnight from Candy, Ben, Marvin, Steven, and George Eichhorn. What's going on? We're going on. And guess what, Cyberuski? We're going off. See you next week.